Hello. I want to get something out in the open here. This isn't an H panel episode. This isn't a downtime episode. This isn't a mental discussion. This is just me telling anyone watching that I am hurt. A couple days ago, for anyone who has been living under a rock, George Floyd was murdered by a cop in Minnesota. Cops were there after being called in for an alleged forged check, and without any resistance from George, he was pinned to the ground with the cop's knee on his neck for 9 minutes. While George begged that the cop remove his knee because he couldn't breathe, the cop ignored him, and eventually George Floyd lost his life. I'm making this video because I can't sit in silence anymore. My platform is not big by any means on any social media, but it is a platform nonetheless. And with my privilege, I know that, this is something I need to do. This is something I need to share. For too long, all I've done is simply repost a picture or hashtag justice for, one of the many unfortunate instances. Or I've texted one of my friends and gone, man, that's crazy. Like, hopefully they do something about it. Too many times I've sat, in the background. I realize now that's just not enough. There needs to be more done here. And before I get too into it, before anyone says anything like, oh, you're being so dramatic, or you sound like a broken record and you're just trying to get views, you can go ahead and exit this video right now. I don't need your views. I don't need your opinions. You're part of the problem. We've been way too quiet about what's going on, and it's time we look in the mirror and really ask ourselves, is this the kind of world we want to live in? And is this the kind of society and the kind of news we want to see every day when we wake up? I want to make something very clear here. Black people are just as equal as white people. Asian people are just as equal as white people. Brown people are just as equal as white people. The fact that I can sit here and feel like it is necessary to tell that to the viewers is disgusting. There should be no amount of doubt in anyone's mind that skin color does not make you any less of a man or a woman, or more for that matter. I cannot believe that we live in a world where discrimination like this keeps happening. And every time I try to understand it, or I try to put myself in someone's shoes who actually thinks that way, it just makes me so, so angry. So angry. I can't and I will never be able to wrap my head around that level of hatred, ever. I have had teammates, I've had coaches, I've had acquaintances, I've had teachers, and I've had friends that are quite literally my family as far as I'm concerned, who are not white. Does being black make them any lesser than me? Never in my life would I have believed that for a second. And no one should have that mentality. Absolutely no one. That mentality is sick. And it should never be allowed to any degree in our society, let alone in 2020. And for anyone, who counters Black Lives Matter with all lives matter, I'm going to address you real quick. Obviously, all lives matter. Obviously. People who say Black Lives Matter aren't saying white people don't matter. White people should be lesser than us. But here's why we say Black Lives Matter. Because me, as a white man, I am not afraid of walking alone in the middle of the night and seeing a police car drive by. As a white man, I am not afraid if I get pulled over or if I see the red and blue lights flashing in my rearview mirror. As a white man, I'm not going to sleep every night worrying if I'll wake up the next day like alive, or if I'll, survive the next day on my way to work or on my way to see somebody, whatever have you. And as a white man, I have a type of privilege that is not given to a lot of people in society. That is why we say Black Lives Matter. Because this privilege that I have been given should not be there. It should not, the fact that my skin is white should not make me more of a man than my fellow neighbor who might not be. That's not fair. It's not. George Floyd died, but it won't be in vain. In fact, we can't sit here and let any of the thousands of women and men of color who have lost their lives go in vain. I'm putting some petitions in the description and some links where you can go and see how you, whether you're a person of color or an ally, can help. I'm also going to put on a list of names of men and women who have lost their lives from blatant racism. George Floyd was not the only one to fall at the hands of racism, and all these people need their names heard. It's time to stop whatever the hell this is. I am not going to sit here and just take it. Black Lives Matter. And if you don't like that, I don't care.